All right, everybody, we're back here for round number 3 of our MOCS Showcase replay. Now, this round we're paired against Juju Bean, who I was pretty confident they were going to play Green-White Heliod. I know they had done pretty well in the Mana Trader series with it, and they're just talking about it on Twitter. So I was fairly confident they were going to play Green-White Heliod. We won the die roll, feels good, man. And we open up on a hand that doesn't have a threat, but I think is just an easy keep in the matchup. Just Thoughtseize and removal spells. You Thoughtseize their companies, kill their creatures, and should be pretty straightforward from there. So we lead on Blood Crypt, Thoughtseize, see what they're working with. We have Giver, Heliod, Skyclave, Spike Feeder. So given that I have a second Thoughtseize, I think the card that I care the most about in the entire matchup is Heliod. It's the one card that I can't interact with on the battlefield. So I think I have to take Heliod here. I think it's... If they draw a second Heliod, that's the card that I would definitely Thoughtseize a second Heliod as well. So... Okay. Play Temple Garden. Assume they're going to play Giver. We have a pretty good turn rolled up with Thoughtseize Bolts. Go ahead and Thoughtseize first. Ooh, did I play Scourge here? I did. You know why I played Scourge here? I didn't want to... Okay, so if I... Okay, if I Thoughtseize Bolt, let's assume they drew a land, right? Let's assume their hand is Skyclave, Feeder, and a bunch of lands. If I Thoughtseize this turn and don't play the Scourge, they're at 18, right? If I Thoughtseize now, I kind of have to take Spike Feeder, so they can't just kill my Scourge for free. Whereas, by playing Scourge this turn, I can basically ignore the Spike Feeder, because I can go, let's assume they brick, they go land, go. I bolt their Giver, attack for 2, they're at 16. I Thoughtseize their Apparition. Oh, I guess they're at 16. No, because they have to take a damage. They have to take damage to play the Feeder. Right, so they would go to 15 to play Feeder. They can gain 4 off the Feeder. My Scourge would be a 1-1. Okay, that's why I did this. Right, exactly. And the other thing, again, by playing Scourge, I basically just don't care about the Spike Feeder now. I can prioritize taking the Apparition, which is what I want to do anyways. But if I Thoughtseize this turn, it makes it more awkward because the Spike Feeder can then just kill my Scourge because it's only going to be a 2-2. Well, it would be a 4-4 if they have to tap 2 canopies, which it would still be able to kill it, though, is the issue. We drew a Battle Rage. So we have a couple of options here. We can just Kolaghan's Command, deal 2 to this, make them discard. We know their hand is Canopy, Feeder, Apparition. I think that's what I should have done because it uses my mana better. Nah, because then we don't guarantee get the Apparition. They'd probably just discard a land, play land, Apparition, the Scourge. So I wanted to guarantee that I got the Apparition, which I got kind of punished because they drew another Apparition. I think it still is the highest value target in their hand, and I don't really want them having to deal with 2 of them. So I think I still took 1. I did. And this another hand is Call, Apparition, Feeder, Canopy. A little awkward. I end up bolting their Giver, attacking for 2. And they end up calling here. I think they got Heliod? Yeah, they did. So now we know they're 4 of their 5 cards. You think Call is tempting? Well, if I take Call, they just have 2 Apparitions, which means they have my next 2 threats covered. I thought I had to take an Apparition there. Like, I kind of had the Feeder combo covered with K-Command, right? So I didn't think I cared about Spike Feeder. It is annoying if they play Heliod, but here's the thing. They obviously don't know that I have TBR, but if they tap out for Heliod, they're dead. You know what I mean? So, like, I think I might be okay with them getting Heliod, because if they're incentivized to tap out for Heliod, they just die. Now, obviously, they can go Apparition into Heliod, but that still gives me another turn to draw another discard spell. So I thought that there was a chance they would just tap out for Heliod here. It's unlikely, but they didn't. But this also is better if I draw another threat, right? Now if I draw a Shadow or a Scourge, I just basically have lethal, right? A Shadow not so much, but... So I end up playing Heliod, I think? Yeah, so now I'm in an awkward spot because I don't necessarily have Revolt. I mean, obviously I can sack my land. I don't want to. I think I ended up killing this and making them discard, and then if they go for Spike Feeder next turn, I can just leave up all my mana, and then if they go to combo, I can just sack my Canyon and push their Spike Feeder. They didn't attack, which I thought was kind of weird. I guess it makes Shadow worse, but... They discarded Ranger Captain. So now their hand is exactly Spike Feeder, one unknown. Drew Swamp, not the best. But it does make the proposition of sacking the Canopy a little less painful, so... Couldn't I have attacked and go bolt their face T-Barrier Scourge and they go to 1? They were at 18. Right, 18, 15, we have a 5-5. Oh, if they don't block? Yeah, I guess that was a line, huh? I guess we could have. I guess we could have done that. That might have been better. Yeah. Well, right. We were at 11. No, we couldn't have been at 11 without casting Thoughtseize, right? Because I took 2 more damage from this after that, right? Or I took 1 more. So I think I was at 12 without casting Thoughtseize. Oh, but I go to 11 by tapping this. Is that what you're saying? They do have an Dino, which actually in many ways is easier what you're doing, or you're predicting your opponent's higher hand lines, maintaining their fast. Yeah, exactly. It's nice to do replays like this. I really think I think I learn a lot when I do this, and I hope that y'all do too. All right, so they're gonna play Spike Feeder, but we have that covered. They're just not gonna go for it. Obviously, they're just gonna say go, but that's fine. We can just chill here in a holding pattern. I mean, the thing is, they're at 7 and they have 2 canopies. So, like, I don't have to make a move. They're eventually going to have to go for it. We're winning this race. So they are the first. They're going to be the first ones that have to act at some point. And now they're at, like, they're at 3 with 2 canopies. So, like, this isn't even that bad for us. And what are they going to do? Cast Collected Company and go to 1? Like I'm just going to chill. I just didn't even act here. Didn't do anything. No reason to. Again, they're the first ones that have... We're going to make them act first, basically. This is a pretty funny spot, though. I think they didn't block. It's weird that they didn't block. I think they should have cast Company before blocks. So they cast Collected Company, and they put 6 cards in the bottom. Kind of a yikes. It's like the GMAT, and this is exactly how you improve performance of process-based decision tests, which I would argue difficult MTGO rounds are. Yeah, exactly. I feel like I learn a lot. So they ended up going for the combo. I think I went sack push here because I didn't want to pay for... I wanted to save the Dismember for something bigger, like a Ranger Captain. But I guess I could push Ranger Captain anyways. I just didn't want to pay a bunch of life. So they go to 3... They go to 5, they take 2, go to 3, we play a land, pass. We actually just have lethal. TBR Illusion Token. They played Auriok Champion, which I imagine they're probably not going to block if I attack with the Illusion, so I assume it's just lethal anyways. Double striking an Illusion. Oh, they did jump. They did jump block, which I thought was also kind of weird. They didn't know I had TBR. I guess they were kind of playing around it the whole game, but... I mean, it's fine. We're super far ahead. Yeah, I think... I mean, obviously didn't end up... Oh, they had cast Call here. They cast Call for Spike Feeder when they only had 2 lands that they could now tap, because they can't tap the canopies now, which I thought that was kind of weird, too. They sack some canopies. And they just ended up dying. Just won the game with an illusion token. Easy. Alright, that was game 1. Was it not better in the feeder turn to dismember it and play TBR for lethal? They were at 5. So they went to 1. They gained 4 life up to 5. If I TBR the illusion, it's only 4 damage. I mean, it's technically lethal anyways because they're at 1 with two canopies. So maybe that was better, but it wasn't lethal that turn. Alright, so game number 2. Yeah, they were at 3 and then they used feeder again. I think we just did the same thing that we did against Sam's white-red Heliod deck. We cut 4 bowl mats, a Crocus, and a K command, boarded in 3K return, 2 engineered explosives, and a fatal push. You just want to be the control deck in this matchup. Your deck allows you to do that. They kind of have to be the aggressor. Sand's fine. No removal, but I mean, I'm not going to mulligan Thoughtseize and some shadows. I played Sprawl, which is actually fine, because it makes it so I'm like not as upset that I don't have a Fatal Push for their Arbor Elf. I bobbled myself because I wanted to figure out whether I was going to keep the card and play Blood Crypt or not keep the card and fetch. It was a Mountain, which I definitely didn't want. And we Thoughtseize them and see this hand. Kind of sucks that they have 2 companies. If they draw land, it's going to be kind of rough for us, but I think you just have to take the card they can cast here. Also, they don't have a 4th land yet, so, you know. So this turn's kind of weird. I'm not sure that I like my line. So I think what I'm supposed to do here is bobble them first to see what's on top, to see if they have a land or an apparition or something. And see whether or not I can afford to bolt myself and play Shadow, which is, I think... Pretty sure I cast Bobble first. I thought about bolting, but I think I ended up bobbling first. Now, who did I bobble? Okay, I bobbled them, which makes sense. That was right. That was definitely correct. And I see Arbor Elf. Now, again... Moto would stop lagging. We know they have 3 cards in their hand, 2 of which are collected companies, and they have an elf on top. If we assume they didn't draw a land, it's kind of risky to bolt ourselves because then we can't kill their 4th mana source to cast these 2 companies. But I think also doing nothing is pretty bad, so I think you kind of have to just bite the bullet and play a Shadow here. It kind of sucks if... Yeah, I mean, they ended up drawing a land anyways, so I didn't feel too bad about it. They main phase Company, which makes sense because they wanted to try and spike Champion and... or not Champion. Feeder Heliod. Didn't draw a land for K return. That's kind of a bummer. Not the worst. We can still attack for 3, play 2 more Shadows, cycle into try and hit our next land drop. I think I bobbled them again because we knew their hand at this point. They have a feeder on top. Still think attack is pretty easy here. They're not going to double block it a million years. They're just going to take 3, and then we play some Shadows. Hopefully draw a land next turn. Everything will be fine. Drew a Fatal Push. Not a land, but... not the worst draw in the world. They cast a Company, and they hit Feeder Apparition, which is not bad, but assuming... I mean, basically this game is coming down to if we draw a land, we win, and we drew a land. So pretty easily just... I ended up attacking first? Why did I attack first? I don't know if it's better to attack first or K-return first. I'm trying to think of either way if there's a difference. They don't technically have to block here, because even if I'm not threatening lethal with TBR, because I can make the Shadow 6/6s, TBR 1, that's 18 damage, but they have 10 life on they have 10 life in play. So it's not lethal no matter what, but let's go to 8, go to 7. I wonder if, I don't know, maybe I kind of wanted to see how they blocked. Like, they might make a different blocking decision based on the fact they don't necessarily know we have K return. So, like, for example, they might choose to block with this, and if they block with this, then we just kill their whole board, so. Yo, Zaraki with the Twitch Prime, thank you so much for the sub. I really do appreciate that. Welcome to the Doom Room. How's it going? So yeah, I guess this is fine. Seeing how they block, like, again, less information for them, like the fact that they don't know we have K return. I think I just fetch shock, deal them 12, and I cast it now because I don't want them moving counters around with the Spike Feeder, especially when they have this in play. So I definitely want to cast it now. That's 100% correct. I think they just gained some life with that one. They let everything die. We get a 1/1. They played a land. Play the other Spike Feeder we knew about. That's fine. Alright, now they have no cards. I think fetch land is lethal no matter what. Should be. You have explosives. Okay, I made a weird play here. Why did I make the play that I did? 6/12. So I ended up sacking explosives for 0 to fatal push their 3/3 Spike Feeder, which forces a sacrifice on it. They go to 16, but then I'm only attacking for 12. I don't know why I did that. Well, I can't EE for 1 if I want to cast Fatal Push on one of these, you know? Or maybe I attacked first. I think what I should have done here is attack first, because it kind of incentivizes them to block with this and gain 4 life, and then I can post-combat EE for 0, crack it, Fatal Push the other one to guarantee that I can't get comboed next turn. I think that's... Oh, that's what I did. Okay. So that is right. I think this is the right play. And this play basically guarantees that they can't combo me. I guess what they could do is they could chump block with Arbor Elf, and if I TBR, that's 6, 12, 18 minus 1 is 17. 3, 10. But now if I TBR, they have to remove 4 counters, which means if they draw Heliod, they can't combo me. Okay, so that's why I did this. I ended up casting TBR here, which I think is also correct. This forces them to remove 2 counters here, 2 counters here. They're left with a 1/1 Spike Feeder, which means if they draw Heliod, I can't get comboed. Basically, I wanted to just make sure that I couldn't get comboed. They ended up drawing Company, which they could have theoretically comboed me if they hit 3rd Feeder and Heliod. Not quite. And now we just have lethal. Just let it play through. Worth noting, something to consider here. You cannot Fatal Push the Conclave Mentor. Do not do that. Because if you Fatal Push Conclave Mentor, they gain 2 life, put a counter on Spike Feeder, and then you die. So don't do that. If you're in this position, chat, do not push their Conclave Mentor. To set up lethal, what I did is this turn I explosive for 0, crack it, push the Spike Feeder, they go to 3, attack with both, they die. This is the turn I knew that there was a turn that I exploded for 0 with an illusion in play, and it looked kind of weird. This is the turn I did it. But this gave me actual lethal now. The card has too much text, yeah. So that was the match against Green-White Company. Game 1 wasn't much of a game. That game, surprisingly, my opponent drew 3 collected companies, and they didn't brick on any of them. I think they hit 2 cards every single time, so I'm kind of surprised I won that game. I think our draw was pretty good. We kind of set up a pretty blowout Kozilek's turn. Drew a bunch of threats. Our draw was pretty good, but that was kind of surprising. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that match against Green White Heliod. Hope to see you back in just a little bit for round number 4.